So at this point in our hacking methodology, we've gone through and gathered quite a bit of information about various systems that are going to be on our target network. At this point, we're looking for ways to get in the network. We've already enumerated what services might be running on some systems, maybe even fingerprinted those individual services or possibly even the operating system. Now we're looking to get information such as usernames, groups, physical drives, logical drives, any kind of additional information that can be useful for us during our penetration testing process. Well, data enumeration is definitely going to be the next step for us. So starting things off, we're going to go over the concept of data enumeration and what we're looking to gain by doing that. Next, we're going to move into SNMP, or Simple Network Management Protocol, and the associated possibilities for enumeration there. Followed by DNS zone transfers. Because DNS is such a critical component of the internet and most enterprise networks, there's a good bet that there's a lot of great information there that we could use for hacking. We're also going to talk about Windows null sessions, which is a problem that's been created by some of the sharing and advertisement capabilities that Windows offers in some of the older clients. We're also going to talk about NetBIOS, or Network Basic Input-Output System. And we're going to talk about some of the different options that are available there as far as that name resolution type is concerned. And finally, we're going to talk about Active Directory and some of the associated vulnerabilities and enumeration capabilities that exist. So to start things off, data enumeration is the basic concept of grabbing as much detailed system information as we can without alerting any of the individual intrusion detection or administrators that might be watching. So this is a very passive type of information gathering. We're basically going to utilize various techniques, but we're not going to actually exploit anything. We're basically going to use built-in features of various systems to gain information by using them for their intended purpose. And in a few cases, we might actually twist around a little bit what it was intended to do and do some things that may not be explicitly intended. But altogether, these are not necessarily exploits. They may be flaws or they may be features, but they're not going to be considered as exploit type information gathering techniques. And because of the non-intrusive nature of data enumeration and the types of technology we're going to be talking about, we can do this in a very quiet manner. There's actually a plethora of information that can be gained through data enumeration in the methods we're going to talk about. We're going to go over a couple of the different spoils of war, if you will, that we might gain during the enumeration process. The first one we're going to talk about is SNMP. We're going to gain information about the SNMP communities, which are basically work groups or names that describe groups of SNMP-enabled devices. Here's what we're really actually going for. The management information base, sometimes called the message information base or various terms associated with it, but the MIB is basically a list of potential problems that could happen on a system. For example, if we have a router that could potentially reach 90% utilization, then there might be an entry in the information base that says, when the router reaches 90% utilization, fire off an alert. We'll talk more about that when we actually get into the specifics of SNMP enumeration. We're also going to be looking for usernames and groups, which are definitely valuable pieces of information that we might use to try to brute force an account or maybe make our test user account a member of that group to check for permissions. We're looking for advertisement of services. A great example of that is the master browser service, which is an election process used by Microsoft systems to determine who wins in local NetBIOS name resolution. We're also going to be looking for specifics associated with drives that might be publicly shared but are possibly locked down or might have associated permissions to them, as well as hidden administratively shared drives. These are the ones that we're really going to be looking for because they generally house the most critical information. We're also going to be taking a look at how we can get network role information, such as servers advertising that they play a certain role and therefore they might make themselves a target during our penetration test. We're also going to be looking for installed software and services on particular systems that can be gained through enumeration. And we're also going to be looking for DNS records because DNS is, again, such a critical part. We want to be looking out for that information. Now, there's also a ton of other different type of information you might be able to gain, but these are the key things we're going to be looking for so that we can gain as much information as possible.